Well, hi folks. Hey, here we are. We're out at Black Lake Campground at the Black Lake Trail. Now, I did this hike last year and did a video about it. I'm doing it again this year. And I'm going to be stopping at each one of the informational points on this trail and trimming up a little bit so the signs stand out a little more. I'm going to see if I can hit every one. And we're going to hike this whole trail all the way around. The trail is 4 miles long, just a hair over 4 miles, and they say it takes 2.5 hours to hike it. Well, it'll probably take me 3.5 to hike it, because I'm going to be trimming up around these informational signs. I'm going to be taking a lot of breaks. We'll see how long it takes. It's 11:45 in the morning, and it's going to be a very hot day. I'm carrying my day pack. I got plenty of fluids with me, so I'll stay good and hydrated. I'm ready to hit the trail. So I'll see you guys down the trail, and I'm going to film at each one of those stops that I stop at. So, and they put a new bridge in last fall, so I want to see that new bridge. And I'll see you guys on the trail. Let's get going. Well, folks, here we are. Black Lake Trail. We're going to get headed out of here. We're right here on the trail. We're going to be hiking all the way around the lake. They put the new bridge in up here, and then we come all the way back down and all the way through the campground back to where we started. It's going to be a long hike, actually. It's only 4 miles, but it's a pretty good hike for 4 miles. So we're going to see if we can find number 1. I heard that number 1 is hard to locate, but we'll see if we can locate number 1. And here we go. Trail off to the left. There's 3 campsites off to the right. We're heading down the trail. And this is a very nice trail, actually, for hiking. Like I said, I hiked it last fall, and in some of the worst weather, hiking weather you could have. It was raining, it was cold, very cold. But this year, right now, it's very nice. It's in the upper 70s right now. It's supposed to hit almost 90 degrees today. But right now, and most of this trail shaded right in the deep woods. And as you can see, it's a beautiful little trail going through here. And I'll catch you a little further down the trail. Well, folks, there's interpretive point number 2. That's real obvious. Trail, that's where I came from. That's where I'm heading. There's number 2 right there, very obvious. Number 1 is back down that way somewhere. And I looked and I looked and I looked, could not find it. So the post has been removed somehow. That I'll let our trail people know. They can come in and replace that. Interpretive point number 1. But number 2 looks good. Don't have to do anything to it. And we'll head down the trail to interpretive post number 3. See you there. Well, just a little something to point out. If you can see my stick out there, right there, there's a huge raspberry patch right there in the woods. You can just see the raspberries all over in there. I bet you I could go in there and pick 3-4 pints of raspberries off that patch right there. They look delicious, but I'm not stopping for raspberries right now. Just wanted to show that to you along the trail. And here's a little footbridge that crosses a creek between informative point number 2 and number 3. It's a nice little footbridge. Nice clear creek running through. Well, okay, there we are. Interpretive point number 3. Now, I didn't tell you what the details are on each of these interpretive sites. I might, well, let's see. Number 1, we weren't able to find. Number 2 indicates an area where you can see the remains of a logging camp. And there's mounds of earth that you can actually figure out where the foundations were for the buildings. Here at number 3, this is old road along this west shore of Black Lake. It used to be, and it's right up here. It's right up here. It used to be the railroad that they used for hauling out all of the timber. And they relocated it in the 1930s farther up to higher ground because it was so damp and boggy in here. Now, I'm going to trim this up a little bit. This little maple, take a little of him back, and this one, and this little one here. And that makes number 3 stand out more so folks can see it. And then we'll move on to number 4, and I'll see you at number 4. Just thought I'd show you folks a little bit of the trail here. You can see it goes down in this ravine of ways and back up a hill, and it does that. It's up and down along this west shore of Black Lake. Black Lake is down through the forest that direction right over there. We're paralleling the lake on the west side. So I'll see you over here at post number 4. Boy, take a look at the mushrooms growing on that log there. Wow, what a patch of mushrooms there. Well, folks, there's a dry creek bed running through here, crossing the trail, or the trail crossing it. And you can see the remains. They used to have a little footbridge crossing here. No longer usable, but the creek is dry. You know, you can see moisture in the ground. I think if you turn some of these rocks over, you'd find water under them. But this time of year, this creek typically does dry up. But spring, in the spring of the year, that's running pretty good, that creek. That's why they had a footbridge across it. Now, if you want to cross it in the spring, yeah, just plan on wearing waterproof boots or get your feet wet. Well, folks, came up on a deadfall across the trail here, and I can see people have been stepping over it. Well, I don't have a camp saw with, and I should have brought a folding camp saw with. I could have cut it off up here and down there just to keep it open through the trail. I tried lifting it, and yeah, it's too long and too big for me to move. You can see the root base of it down there. This thing's got to be 30 feet long. So yeah, I can't get it out of the trail with the gear I got with me. So I didn't bring a hatchet or an axe. Didn't bring a folding camp saw. So it'll stay. Get cut out of there some other day. Well, here we are. Post number 4. It's seen better days. It needs to be reset in the ground. It's real obvious, though. You can see it. You come up the trail down there, up this way, and there it is. You can't miss it. So there's nothing to brush out here. This post was an informational post at one time. I think they should probably pull that number 4 off of here and put it on this post. This is sturdier. Cut some of this old deadfall off of it. Clean this up a little bit. But what this site, this interpretive spot is about is how the CCs, the Civilian Conservation Corps, would come in and they plant. They call them timber plantations. They come in and they plant trees over hundreds and hundreds of acres. But they kept good record of what they planted where and when. And now you may be able to see it right there. There's a lone post standing there. Just looks like a dead stump. But no, look at the top. It's a nice clean angle cut. And the top is squared off. Somebody had cleaned that up with a chainsaw or a handsaw and put the beveled top on so it wouldn't rot so fast. And there used to be tags attached to it because that's a plantation boundary for this forest in here. And what they would do is come back periodically to see how their forest is doing. See if their plantation, if the trees they planted are growing well. So that's what this interpretation point is it gives you a bunch of information on the CC camps. And we're going to move on up to number 5. Well, folks, here we are. Number 5. Post number 5. What's post number 5 have to say? What's this spot about? Well, let's see. It says, this point of land on the west shore of Black Lake is the location of an old CCC picnic ground, which was popular in the 1930s. The picnic ground was abandoned sometime prior to 1960. All that remains of the picnic area is an old brick fireplace. Well, the old brick fireplace literally is all that remains of the picnic area. Imagine this thick forest in here used to be a picnic area and open down to the lake. And yeah, and all that remains is the fireplace. Well, I'm going to show you the remains. There's not, you wouldn't know, most people wouldn't know it was a fireplace unless they were told. Well, here it is. Here's the remains. You can see the fire brick in it, and it's on the interior. The exterior is concrete and stone. This side is standing almost vertical, the way it used to. This side has tipped over. This side used to stand way up over here, and it was an open fireplace. And in the back, they would have had a flue made out of stone on this fireplace, and then they would have grates across it for cooking here on that fireplace. And I look off into the woods, and I'm curious. It'd be kind of nice to come out here someday and just spend a few hours and just wander around in these woods a little ways and nose around. You might find some old relics, some more old remains like this. But that's it. That's post number 5. And post number 5 had a little bit of brush obscuring it. I trimmed it back. Looks good. You can't miss it. And you can also see the fireplace now behind the sign. So let's move on to point 6. Well, we're walking through a section here between 5 and 6 that you can see how it's damp in here, really damp, kind of mucky. It's got some old timber laying across here. Now, if you come through here in the spring, even with these logs trying to balance on them, you're still going to get your feet wet in here. This area is real damp. Now, this spot here is just muck hole. You can see the deer tracks in here. There's a lot of deer track in here. The deer are loving using this trail. And off we go. Number 6 is up over this hill a ways. So I'll see you there. Number 6. What is this area important for? Let's take a quick look-see. Well, it says it's talking about all of the hemlock and how they would harvest the hemlock trees. And one thing they were very interested in was the bark, because they used the bark for tanning leathers. The tannins in the bark was valuable at the time, so they harvested it for that. And that was in the early 1900s. Well, if you looked around And you can hear, there's a couple spots back yonder that I noticed, and there's one back there where you can tell where the old piles of hemlock bark were left in the late 20s, because the market for hemlock bark kind of stopped. They found other ways to do the tanning. A lot of times they would harvest, they would log out the hemlocks just to get the bark. Well, that was kind of foolish. In this area, however, the bark was just kind of like a byproduct, and they would use the bark just to add to their income for the timber, for the lumber. So that's what this site's about, is in the woods. You can find these mounds. They look like mounds of dirt, but if you get up close and you poke around, you can tell when you go from dirt to the old bark, because the old bark is real soft. You know, it decayed, and it's real soft, and you poke and you can figure it out. There's a big old pile where they had piled hemlock bark. Okie dokie, folks. Number 7, hidden behind this little tree. Number 7. I'm going to trim this up a little bit so you can see that post. And let's see, what does it say for number 7? Okay. In 1920, they logged this area real heavily, and what they did was they decked the logs, which means stacked them, on the ice of Black Lake right out here. Right out here, they decked those logs out on the ice. And then they would take them from there and load them onto railroad cars to haul them out of here to the mill. Well, it thawed too early that year. The ice went out early in 1921, and they were unable to get all of their logs off of the lake in time. The logs were hardwood and hemlock, and the majority of those sank to the bottom of the lake. And the next summer, a couple companies showed up and salvaged thousands of those logs from the lake. And then again in 1939, the portable sawmill was brought in to salvage some more of the sunken logs. And from 1945 to 1947, they set up another mill on the site and salvaged more logs. Hundreds of logs still remain on the bottom of Black Lake. And there's a lot of people that think that the reason Black Lake has the brown colored water that it has because of the bark on those sunken logs. The color of the lake is because of tannins, natural tannins going through the soil and getting into the lake. It's not because of those logs. This lake was that color before the logs sank. So I'm going to trim this up, and we're going to take a little break over here. I'll talk to you for a second while I take that break. Here I am, sitting in the shade on a hill. Black Lake's right there behind me. There's the tiniest of breeze, tiniest. And I'm sitting, hydrating. Gonna have me a little snack. One thing I just love, I don't want a copyright problem or nothing, but these sausage sticks, man. I'm covering up their name, but these sausage sticks, I love them, love them. So I'm gonna have me a sausage stick as a snack. Let's take a quick peek. 1:30. I believe it was 11:45 when I took off. It's 1.5, 1 3/4, 1.5. Yeah, I'm halfway, just a hair over halfway, and I think it's going to be about 3-hour trip. Usually it's 2.5 hours, they say. And last time I did it 2 hours to point 7 and back. But they say 2.5 hours all the way around the loop. Well, yeah, I'll make better time on the way back. There's only one more interpretive spot, number 8, I believe, and I'll catch that when I get to it. But that's over on the other side of the lake. And between here and there, it's just the new bridge. I'm going to do a little bit of video of the new bridge, and otherwise I'm not videoing except for those 2 locations. So I'm going to hydrate up, have my snack, and I'm going to hit the trail. I'll see you down at the new bridge. Okay, guys, I'm not wearing the camera on my hat because I switched to a do-rag. It's too darn hot. It is so hot. I can't wear that hat no more. Okay, the trail's coming out here to the new bridge, and I wanted to show that to you. So I'm hand carrying the camera, and I'll show you the new bridge they put in. Now imagine how far in this is, and they come in here and did all this work. Now you can see off to the left here, they cut out a bunch of timber right here, just on the knob here, just at the top of this hill. I don't know if they're going to put like a picnic area or something in here eventually or what, but otherwise there was no good reason to clear that out. They're going to make some kind of use of it. It's beautiful back in this part. We're on the farthest east end of Black Lake. And check this bridge out, guys. Now, you look here, look at these rocks they managed to get set in place. I don't know how they got the equipment in here to do this, but they did. But here's the bridge. And it used to be you had to foot cross right through here. And that's mucky. The bottom of that is all muck. And this is a sweet bridge. Boy, is this a nice bridge. Beautiful job they did. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I remember we used to come down here and we'd actually come down the embankment here. There's natural rock there, and we go around it and come down. And you go over there and you cross through there. That was the best crossing, but it's all mucky. All muck, muck, muck. Yeah. But what a beautiful bridge. What a beautiful bridge. They did an awesome job. Way the heck out here in the middle of nowhere. They've created a great approach to it from both ends. We'll take a look down. Check it out. Check it out. Isn't it beautiful? The lake is right over there. The lake's over there. This creek runs into that lake just down there. And that's where we're headed. This approach is pretty nice, gradual. They piled rocks and then dirt on top of it. Did a pretty good job. And then all their work. Then to see, you can see where the original trail, like I was telling you, where we used to come across it. This is where the original trail was. And the trail heads up that way. So we're on our way around. We're at the far east end of the lake, and now we're going to be heading around and heading west. We're heading south now, and then we'll be turning I just wanted to show you guys. This is the trail on the south end, and we'll be turning east here in just a little bit. And you get these little spots where it's really nice, but back through there, you could hardly make out the trail. It's so thick. They really do need to come in and, I don't know, brush it and widen it so that you can get through without actually losing trail, and having to weave back and forth to make sure you're staying on it. But there we go. I'll catch you when we get down to the other end as we first come into the campground. Well, I thought I'd show this to you guys. This is a little further down the creek from the new bridge. This is one of the old original bridges on the trail. You can see it's pretty old. It's moss covered. There's some bad spots, soft spots like this, ready to go. So you want to be careful. What I would do if you take this trail, cross this bridge where the long stringers are. That's where the strength is. And you can see how moss covered it is. You know, they threw a few different boards in here to try to patch it up. But this is what's neat. Look at this root base here. Great big old tree fell down here at one time and left this big open pit of water and muck down in here. And it's not really it's not a flowing creek as much as where the big bridge crosses. But this is a long bridge. I mean, it's long. It's long. Yeah, the day will come when they'll have to come in here and replace this one. That ought to be a chore. Well, seems like I keep finding things before I get to the campground, but here's another little bog walk I thought I'd show you. That's along this trail here at Black Lake. And this is recently built. And as you can see, it's really long. It's really long. And this is all mucky, wet bog in here. So to walk through this stuff, yeah, you get pretty doggone muddy. It's so soft in here. This is all soft, very soft in here. But they put a nice, it's narrow. Be a little tough. Yeah, it'd be a little tough, two people squeezing past each other. But sure beats heck on walking in that muck. And they did a good job. It's solid. You walk on it. It's firm. Nice walking. Yeah. But yeah, that bugger's it's a long bugger, boy. Well, guys, here we are. It's the trailhead. Trail's right in there. This is the far eastern side of the campground. Trail goes back in the woods right before campsite number 20 down here. I used to stay in there a lot. And I'll take the trail down. Follows the lakeshore the rest of the way. Through the campground. Goes past every campsite that's on the lakeside. And that's the direction I'm going. And I shall, at interpretation point number 8, if I find it here, I'll take a look at it and we'll update you. And off we go. Well, folks, here we are. Post number 8. What kind of information for post number 8? Well, we're right smack in the middle of the campground. And right over here is the narrowest part of the lake. There's like a bay to the left, a bay to the right, and narrow section right through here. They had built a bridge across here so they could haul the logs across. That bridge was a railroad bridge. And the pilings for that bridge, if you dig around on the bank on either side, you can find the old pilings where the original bridge was. But that's how they got the logs from that side of the lake across that bridge, unless they put them on the ice and then they'd bring them over and put them on the railroad. But the railroad bridge crossed right here. Yep, and that was back in, oh boy, what's it say? 1919 is when the Heinz Lumber Company purchased all the timber over here. And it was soon thereafter they built the railroad bridge. So pretty interesting that there was a bridge that actually crossed the lake right there. Now we've got one more. It's okay. It's information post number 9, and we'll head to that. That's down at the dam at Fish Trap Creek at the end of the lake. I gotta go there anyway, so we'll see you there. Well, folks, here we are. We're coming to the end of the trail. Post number 9 is out here by the bridge, by the dam. I'll give you a little information about post 9, and then we'll head up to my truck is parked right up there on the hill. So we're back. We're back. I just need to do post number 9, and I'm looking for it. It's supposed to be by the bridge. There it is. There's post number 9. Post number 9. The last post. And I'm going to tell you, check this out. They cut this big old pine down. It was dead. Cut her down. And the Forest Service went and they cut all these seats in it. They put all these absolutely awesome flat sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. You can sit here, fish off of here. This is a great spot to fish too, but the water's really low right now. But site number 9, or post number 9, it says the Black Lake flowage is on Fish Trap Creek. There's the dam underneath there. In the pine logging days between 1880 and 1900, a rock and log dam was constructed at the outlet of Black Lake, which is right here. White pine logs were decked on the ice and on the lake shore in the winter. In the spring, when the snow melted and the rains brought more water, the dam gates were opened and the logs and water were released to flow downstream to the nearest sawmill. In the 1930s, the CCCs rebuilt the dam and built a road up to the dam. The CCCs also built a log bridge across the dam. The log bridge was replaced in 1962 when the campground was constructed. So there you have it, guys. There's a tour of the Black Lake Trail in 2021. Sty was glad to bring you along. You all, I appreciate you tagging along with me. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Ring the bell so you know when I'm putting up videos and doing live streams. And hey, give me a thumbs up, would you? That'd be awesome. Your comments, I love them. And until the next time, guys, Sty loves you all, and you all. Happy hiking, and have a very nice day. Bye-bye.